I am Jada Khalil, and I am joined by my fellow interns at Waterhouse to compete for the full-time jobs. And to do so, we are going to present our presentation on the Major League Movie Organizational Behavior Analysis. And I am joined by Sanjana Patel, Allison Libby, myself, Molly Lee, Madhubi Debnath, and of course, Diana Miller. A quick debrief of how we're going to present on our analysis today. We're going to take a look at the organizational behavior from 3 different levels. The individual level, of course, is how each individual makes decisions and behaves that affects the group and the organization. The group level is taking a look at either 2 or more individuals. It can range in size and how the group's decisions and behaviors will affect the individuals and the organizations. And of course, the organizational level takes a look at how the group level and the individual level combined affects organizational level behaviors and patterns.
Okay, so I'm going to start off with the individual level. So the individual level includes each individual person within an organization. Each individual acts differently, which affects group dynamics and the organization as a whole. So first, looking at the members of each team, we see diversity in players based on religion, age, and race. First, we have Willie, who's the team's leadoff man. Then we have Eddie Harris, who's a veteran pitcher, Christian, and he's an older member with a weak arm. Then we have Pedro, who's the biggest guy on the team, and he's a Cuban import and voodoo practitioner. Then we have Jake Taylor, who's the team's catcher. He's also an older member with bad knees and a weak arm. And lastly, we also see Rachel, who's the team's owner and a former showgirl. This movie also has a lot of emotions to it. In general, the movie makes the audience laugh with the ways that the characters act and the communications that happen between the 2 characters. The biggest emotional theme that we do see is the betrayal that comes from Rachel, where she has an alternative motive to the team, but then we see how the team reacts when they find out what's actually happening.
My name is Diana, and I'm going to be talking about the personality side. So in the beginning of the Major League movie, we saw that many of the players on the Indian baseball team had a very negative, narcissistic, and angry kind of personality. An example from the movie that illustrates that was when Serrano struck out against the New York team. But towards the end of the movie, the Indians beat the New York team. And you can see how everyone's personality on the Indians team went from very unpleasant to having a team-like personality, which became to help them become more optimistic and more friendly. For the motivation side, Coach Brown was giving his team motivation by talking to them in the locker room and saying, "Let's see some hustle and let's jack it up a little. I have a feeling things are going to turn around." In another scene, he was telling the team that the people were predicting that they were going to be in last place. That gave their team more motivation to want to strive even more and become more like a team. At first, the team had very low morale, but then eventually got higher, which helped them lead to a better performance at the end.
I'm Allison, and I will be talking about the group levels. So a group in an organization can consist of a couple of members or hundreds or dozens. It really doesn't matter, but the individuals affect the group, and then the group in turn affects the organization. So it's kind of like a ripple effect, and they all have an effect on one another. So in the group level, we have power and politics, and we see power in the movie when Rachel Phelps, who is the new owner of the Cleveland Indians, uses a lot of negative power and jurisdiction over the team just because she was the owner. And she does this, an example of this was when she manipulated the players, and she took their team jet and replaced it with one that almost made them fear for their lives. And I feel that her power greatly resembles the definition of power that we learned in class, which is the ability to influence and exercise control over others. And in class, we also learned about a few examples of power, and I feel that hers was legitimate power because she has authority based on her position. And she also stuck out to me when I was thinking about the politics in the movie because she tried to manipulate Lou Brown a lot by playing a politics game and attempted to pit him against other players. And she played this game by urging him not to play players that were playing well, while previously giving him players that were considered by much of the league to be washed up. And I also feel that this demonstrates the definition of organizational politics, which is the intentional acts of influence to enhance or protect the self-interest of individuals or groups. Now on to conflicts in the group setting. So there was a conflict between Vaughn and Roger Dorn over his wife. So Vaughn was involved with her at the bar after he learned that he was not the starting pitcher. And at the time, he didn't realize that she was Dorn's wife, but this later causes a lot of conflict between Dorn and Vaughn, and it also affects how they're playing on the field with their team. And more broadly, when you think about the movie, it's pretty much all conflict, and it's pretty much due to Rachel Phelps' plan to run the baseball team into the ground. And this fits the definition of conflict, which is a process in which one party perceives that its interests are being opposed or negatively affected by another party. And as far as the type of conflict, pretty much the entire movie was dysfunctional conflict as it threatens the organization's interest and hurt their morale.
Thanks, Allie. So we're going to take a look at the creativity of the group level now, and we're going to see a lot of innovation that is also involved with the creativity. So first is every time we win, we peel a section. So Brown attempts to motivate the team to win 32 games by the cardboard cutout of Phelps. So of course, every time they win, a section comes off. This is a super creative way to motivate a team to win. You also could say it's a little innovative because it does save money and it does kind of deal with the functionality of motivating a team. The second form of innovation and creativity that we see that can affect the group level is I don't have an arm like yours. So Eddie tells this to Charlie Sheen's character, and he says that to improve his performance on his curveball by 2 to 3 inches, he uses lots of really interesting sticky things, Vagisil, Crisco, and of course, rubbing some jalapeno juice on your hands and getting your snot. We find really cost-effective, innovative ways to save money, to of course increase the value of the curveball. And then finally, the Jobu Shrine, super hilarious as well. So we see Pedro praying to his Jobu Shrine to improve his curveball. And this is a really creative way to help the team win. So we see the group kind of all around the shrine. He's feeding him cigars and he's being really funny about it. But these are definitely creative ways to produce better performance and motivate a team. Next is decision making. So we're going to look at how are people making decisions on the team? How is the team as a whole making a decision? And how does that result in team dynamics? So first is Rachel Phelps's continuous decision making to demoralize the team and to hurt their chances of success. So she removes their amenities. She neglects their equipment. And of course, she gives them no hot water and numerous other things that Allie kind of got into as well. And this really does demonstrate how negative decisions by, someone at a higher level can affect the group at a group level. So what do we see? We see this team have this underdog mentality. They're going to fight through their challenges and they're going to win. Then we have Rick Vaughn. So he throws an impressive curveball, an impressive fastball, but he can't control it. I think it's around 90 miles per hour. So his inability to control the ball does contribute to the team's losing streak. So of course, we're seeing how the group level is affected, but the team manager, Lou Brown, does have Vaughn fitted for glasses. And then once that decision is made to get Vaughn his glasses, all of a sudden his fastball is improved. He has control. And this demonstrates how decision-making can affect a team as a whole positively. And then finally, the decision to reveal Phelps' plan to the team. This is a huge decision that really does turn the whole movie around in a sense of where the team realizes, wait, we're being set up to fail. So this decision to communicate Phelps's plan affects the group level because it increases their morale, and it really does give them this underdog mentality, and it really does affect their morale, culture, and performance going forward.
Hi, I'm talking about the organizational level. So first is the cohesion. A poor start to the season has left the stadium empty, as if it were a sign that the boss's tactics are about to succeed. But thanks to the efforts of the coach and potential of the unknowns, the team's record has rebounded. When they found out what the boss really wanted, they went on a winning streak. And in the final game of the season, they got a chance to fight the Yankees for a playoff spot. And the second is talking about immoral. Rachel wanted to move the once bad Cleveland Indians to Miami for personal pleasures, and she hired a bunch of no-name players to play in the major leagues and tried to make the team thoroughly bad so that she could get her way with under attendance.
Thank you, Molly, and hello, everyone. My name is Madhavi, and I will be talking about the strategy and the culture of the organizational level. In this movie, the organization was viewed in an awful light. The owner, Rachel Phelps, wanted to move the team, so she decided to sabotage them and give them worse treatment for better performance. Like how they went from having a habitable camp to traveling by a plane that could crash any minute, and then to a bus that stops more than it runs. But her demotivating tactics failed as the team rebelled and decided to win the championship. Management really failed these players, and this movie should be a lesson of what not to do in an organization. The organization is bigger than both the team and the individual, but both are a critical part of it. The culture of Rachel Phelps was to sabotage, but the team's culture was having each other's back, like when Dorn told Vaughn to strike out Hayward, even knowing that Vaughn had previously slept with his wife. Motivation is supposed to come from the management and within the team. While the team was strong, management was unsuccessful at giving the team what they were owed. It was their failure. And I would like to conclude with thanking my awesome team for having my back, just like the Cleveland Indians. We appreciate the time you took to listen to us, and I hope you enjoyed our presentation. Thank you.